Greetings, everyone, and Happy New Year. Before we get started with the first episode of 2020, I wanted to do a little plug. Do you like the music of the Grateful Dead, particularly the music co-written or written by Robert Hunter? Well, if you do, Ardmore Music Hall is having an event called Songs to Fill the Air, a Robert Hunter celebration. That's on January 23rd, and it'll feature performances of songs written by Robert Hunter by Philadelphia artists like Sean Hoots from Hoots and Hellmouth, Hezekiah Jones, Andrew Lipke, Nick Greeley, Katie Feeney, Chris Casper, Chelsea Viacava, and somehow myself. I will also be involved with this. I will be playing a couple of Robert Hunter penned tunes at the Ardmore Music Hall on January 23rd, all part of Songs to Fill the Air, a Robert Hunter celebration. You can get more information at ardmoremusic.com, where you can get tickets through them or through Eventbrite. But hey, January 23rd, come watch me and a whole lot of other awesome people play songs written by Robert Hunter. All right, now we're going to do the show. Well, hello, and welcome once again to 25 o'clock. I'm your host, Dan Drago. Welcome to the first episode of 2020, the first episode of the new year, here on 25 o'clock, Philadelphia's longest-running music podcast, I think. Welcome to the show. I'm Dan, if I didn't say so right at the top of the show. I'm telling you again. Perhaps you forgot. Perhaps you were distracted with all the New Year shenanigans that are going on around you. Perhaps you've received your W-2 already and you're one of those crazy people who have to do your taxes immediately. I am one of those crazy people. The second I get that thing in my hand, I'm filling out paperwork. But anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to 2020. Welcome to everything. On the show this week, Hambone Relay. I had Mark Brown and Rob Tate of the band over to chat, talk about playing and doing shows and writing music, and they have a podcast called Dude, Check This Out. They've had we've shared a few guests. They've had guys like Trap Rabbit on and Eric Cruson, and it's a great podcast. They're a great band. We really do get into it. We talk about all kinds of stuff, jam and otherwise. You can check them out at hambonerelay.com. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're new to the show, old to the show, medium to the show, you should check out 25o'clockpod.com. That's our website, and everything and anything you need with the show is at 25o'clockpod.com. All the episodes for streaming and for downloading available to you free of charge. Check out the Friends and Neighbors page. That's where I link anyone and everyone who's ever been on the show. So if you like an artist, you like what you hear, and you want to support them, you click on that Friends and Neighbors page, and I show you where to go. Also, check us out. There's links to our Facebook, our Instagram, Twitter, all those things. Sign up for the mailing list. Do all the stuff. 25o'clockpod.com. Do all the stuff. Hambone Relay. Really fun guys. I had them on back at the beginning of December, before the holiday madness. You remember that? You remember before the holiday madness, and now we're after the holiday madness, and it just kind of ripped through our lives like a whirlwind, like a tornado, like a cartoon cyclone. Yep, it did that, and now it's over. And now you just gotta live your life. I didn't mean to bring it down like that. I don't even think I did bring it down. You just gotta live your life. It's cool, you know. Read some books, enjoy a film. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your life. Hambone Relay, you can check them out, hambonerelay.com. They have a new record out. It came out late last year. It's called Say Hi to Earl. They got some dates coming up, too. Coming up very soon, January 11th in Lehigh County, they're playing the Winter Wavelength Fest. See, that's something you can do if you're up and around that area or feel like traveling. Lehigh County, just up by the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. You could go to the Winter Wavelength Fest. That's something to do in this, kind of dark, dreary, wintry time of the year. You can check out live music. And they have a big show coming up February 29th at Milk Boy in Philadelphia, 11th and Chestnut, right in Center City. You can get more information, hambonerelay.com. So let's get to it. It was a really great conversation. It's fun to talk to two people at once. Sometimes it can get a little crowded, and it can be tough for me as an interviewer and as someone having the conversation to kind of figure out who to focus on. But Mark Brown and Rob Tate play together really well, and they have a podcast together, and they speak together at the same time really well. It was great to meet them, and hopefully I can be a guest on their Dude Check This Out podcast. Come on, guys. Quid pro quo. No, I'm kidding. That's not why I did it. I had them on because I liked their music and I wanted to talk to them. It wasn't one of those like, yeah, you do this thing and then I do the thing. Eh? It's not like that at all. So let's listen to it right now. Let's listen to the thing that's not a thing at all right now. Mark Brown and Rob Tate of Hambone Relay here on 25 o'clock. I always joke, I go, in the end, it's all getting rendered down to 96 kbps for streaming. So, let's not, let's not break out the Neumanns or anything like that. Let's just,
I always thought he didn't break out the Neumanns because I was going to break them or something.
Well, actually, I did bring out the Neumanns a couple times, and I think it did get knocked over once.
You really gotta want to break a Neumann to break a Neumann.
Yeah, they're very well made for sure.
Yeah, well, the worst thing you'll do is that you might shatter the capsule in there, but those are replaceable. But the Neumann, they're made like tanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Listen, Dan, I know we just met, but you got to know me a little while longer. They have a little line on your taxes. Go, do you know Rob Tate? Yes, here's $10,000. We're sorry.
We're sorry.
But yeah, we ever since we started the podcast, it's been really cool. We learned a lot about different genres and things, and you're doing a really great job.
We've shared some guests. You had Trap Rabbit, you had Arjun and Logan.
Mm-hmm.
You had
you guys have Stella Ruse?
No.
Oh, okay.
You had Eric Krusen just recently. Chairman Dances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They did they were the last band we had on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure.
Eric, he's an awesome dude. It would make sense that we would share people at some point. Town's only so big.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Or at least the people, active people doing things and people who are out promoting things and just generally wanting to be, part of the scene.
Yeah.
For whatever that is.
Well, actually, what's funny is that when I was researching for our Trap Rabbit interview, I actually based off your interview, what has already been asked, and I was like, okay, how can I go to the
you
next?
listened to it before?
Yes.
See, I won't do that. I'll read articles and I'll read press material and all that, but I will not listen to a podcast of someone that I had on before I have them on the show.
How come?
I don't want to get too much, Mm-hmm. I want facts, I want to know stuff. I want to have things to talk about, but I don't want to already hear what they sound like on someone else's mics. I just want them to sit down and just be like, all right, and this is how we're going to sound here. Yeah, like you were saying, I don't want to judge it on is this as good as the other interview they did? Is this better? All that. I just, and it's not because I don't want the information that maybe is contained in that podcast. Were I able to read someone's previous podcast in a transcript, that would be massively helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
Yeah. And also, I want to see if people, tell stories differently or because you get asked the same stuff when you do this and you have kind of the same answers, but I like to hear it flow,
Mm-hmm.
regularly. I don't want to know the answer to something before I ask it. Where I'm just like, oh, are you from blah, blah, blah? And it's I know the person is from, where I'm asking where they're from. And I'm just trying to I'm passive aggressively segueing into a question.
That's definitely what I do. I won't lie. That's definitely what I do. Is I use it to get to the question I really want to ask so that I can follow along.
Man, life's short. Just ask your question. Just right out the bat.
But you have been pretty good, too, about just creating a conversation, too, though.
Yeah.
It's just the last few episodes, especially, Rob, you guys just start talking. and it
Yeah.
just turns into the episode. You
That's
know,
what
which
we're
is
doing
what we're
right
doing
now.
right now, which is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're shit. Am I? No, we're rolling.
Sorry, guys. Didn't get that one.
Can we do that again? guys?
Are you guys from around here originally? See, I don't know this. I'm not. This is not a roundabout
Hey,
question.
you're good. You're good. So I'm from upstate New York originally.
Where
actually.
we're from?
Like the Binghamton area.
I'm from Rochester.
No way. Cool.
Yeah.
But I went to school in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I've kind of stayed in the Philly area ever since. So
Yes, and I'm from South Jersey. Woohoo! And went to UArts on Broad Street.
Oh, cool.
Got a music degree.
UArts is a small. I mean, a lot of great people, a lot of really talented people come out of UArts, but it's still kind of a small community.
You know what's funny is every band has one person that went to UArts, even if it was only for like a week. We're like a disease. One of us ends up in every band in the city.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, you
like-
stay. That's the thing. Like, but that's cool. Like, there was definitely a time in this city where people didn't stay.
it's true.
They would get the music degree because UArts was always a good school, but people would get their degree and they go to New York or LA or Nashville or they would go to an industry town. And now, like, people hang out. There seems to be work and things to do, or people just don't want to leave.
Where did you go?
I went to school in Western New York in a little tiny town called Fredonia, right on Lake
Oh,
Erie.
cool. I applied to Fredonia.
Yeah,
actually.
so did I.
Yeah. Well, obviously.
Well, no, I applied to Binghamton too because when you fill out the SUNY school application, you can like just check 4. Like you fill out one application and you can just hit 4 right off the
That's
bat.
so easy.
I know, right?
Oh, I would have
SUNY,
totally
bro.
done that.
SUNY for life,
SUNY,
bro.
I was what were my 4? Fredonia, Binghamton, Oswego, and New Paltz.
Okay, cool. New Paltz is cool.
Yeah, because I thought I wanted to get into like theater and all of that. I was a theater major for an entire 2 days.
Oh no!
Nice.
And I didn't make it to class. Like I just got on campus and I just read the room and I was like, no, English literature. Let's just go there. Like still theater adjacent.
Right.
Yeah. And then I got like the first day I was in school, I met someone who worked for college radio, and it was all over.
How cool is that,
Yeah,
man?
it's over. Yeah, it's a dude named Jim Briggs. We're still friends to this day. He was working in the bookstore. He had big hair and a Polvo T-shirt, and I was just like, I know that band.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
The bromance started.
No, it was just it was. He was like, yeah, you should come to the thing, and I'm like, they let people be on the radio.
I don't know if they're gonna let me do that.
Well, that was
Yeah.
that's everyone's thing for college radio. They're just like, they let regular people on the radio, and I'm just like, dude, you ever listen to college radio? Of course they let regular people on the radio.
I didn't know UArts had a radio station until my
Yours
last.
is a radio
Oh,
station.
I know. It was like my last week. I honestly don't think it's on the airwaves. I think it's like an online thing.
Did you guys broadcast experience before you got in the podcast, or was it just
Nope. We just listen to a lot of podcasts.
There you go.
It was. Mark listens to a lot of movie podcasts, and I listen to a lot of in-depth interview shows. Like we listen to Stern every now and again on the road, and then like Kevin Smith's podcast.
Yeah.
Stuff. So the reason for starting the podcast was to kind of learn about new genres for us, and also to kind of like get ideas from other bands and like share like things to do with Hambone Relay.
Yeah, no, it's a good promotional tool as well. When I was in a band, it would have around 2012, 2013, right before I left the group that I was with, we were toying with the idea of one. But at that point, the idea of like doing any more projects with all of us together and getting everyone on the same page, I was just like, well, that's just like having another band, but with all the same people, and that's already kind of not working anyway. So you came to Philly through school or after school,
Yeah.
and you were just here.
You were just here. You were just here, man.
And then ended up in West Philly. No one's picked me up.
Well, you're
since.
from South Jersey too, so like this would make the most sense. It's like, where are you going to go? Like in terms of big city, like this is the closest thing to go to. So this is where you.
Yeah,
end
South
up.
Jersey went to Philly, and North Jersey went to New York. That was just the thing. Nobody wants to stay unless you just end up there.
Well, you came in a good time too, like because you would have started undergrad in 2008.
Yeah.
Right when I don't know. I often kind of peg that as right when things started to kind of pick up around here. I mean, there was always people here, but somewhere between like 2008 and 2010, like that's when you kind of looked up and just like, oh, I think not only do I think we're a real city, but I think other people might think we're a real city too.
I feel like too. I mean, the music scene's always been great in Philly, of course.
Absolutely.
But I feel like for what we do and like the kind of scene we're on, bands like Trap Rabbit and Solar Circuit, I feel like in the last 4 to 5, 6 years, that's really grown. You know?
But before that, I mean, if you want to talk like the burgeoning jam scene in Philly, I mean, before that, you had the Disco Biscuits, and that was a huge. I mean, not just for the area, but that they were like one of the first Jamtronica bands that I definitely remember. I can almost pinpoint. We were talking about Phish before. I can almost pinpoint the summer tour where I looked up and realized that there were a lot more rave drugs in the parking lot than I was aware of. It was like the summer where like rave and jam just got together, and you're just
nice.
Like, okay. And whenever people say like, well, what do they have in common? I'm like, drugs, like so many drugs. Yeah. I remember walking in the parking lot, and instead of hearing like the usual, you hear the nug, shrooms, and all that, someone's like, we got Molly. I'm like, what did he say? When you formed the band, Mark, it's like in 2012, around then.
Yep.
And you were in another band in Baltimore called The Bridge, right?
Right. Yep. Yeah.
And they were kind of in the same vein, jam. And
jammy, a little different from us because we're an organ trio that's mostly instrumental. The Bridge was more like a roots rock jam band, heavily influenced by Phish.
Yeah.
So you had a little bit of that, but it was a little more country rock.
Yeah. So there's some Dead in there too, that kind of thing.
They were huge Deadheads. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So and then that band went on permanent hiatus, and then that's when this band.
I think that's called breaking up.
We broke up. We play one gig a year, so technically.
Oh no, that's nice. Like you guys will get back together and like go play like.
Yeah, we do like one show like the night before Thanksgiving every year. We play.
That's awesome.
So, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and this year we got to open up for The Bridge as Hambone Relay, so that was really exciting.
Oh, nice, double duty.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. For sure.
Yeah. So that band split, and you found your way up here and. Do what anyone else does when a band breaks up. It's just like, well, I haven't had enough punishment. I think I'll start another band.
Let's just do it again, right? And actually, so
this time it'll be different, guys.
I answered like a Craigslist ad to like, hey, let's jam. We love funk. So we got together with the drummer and a guitar player who are no longer in the band, and we just started jamming. We started playing some gigs, and 7 guitar players and 6 drummers later, here we are, man.
There you are. Yeah. But this one stuck.
This one stuck.
As is my case, I guess, in my life. This one's stuck. Guy, we couldn't leave.
And this is the best iteration. The band has never sounded better, too. Yeah, for sure.
When you first started it, like, what did you want other than to find some like-minded people and play music and see what happened?
Well, I've always been enamored with the Hammond B3 and the organ sound, so I really just wanted to have an organ trio where there's no bass player. I'm playing bass with my left hand. Yeah. And we were basically a Soul Live cover band. Yeah, honestly, our first 10 songs we learned were by Soul Live.
There you go. Well, they're a good blueprint for that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and we've since morphed from what they were doing into more of like a rock jam band.
Yeah, you guys cover a lot of genres too. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I listened, I was like, "Oh, these guys like Soul Live."
Mm-hmm, for sure.
But when you're sitting as an organ trio, like you're gonna get a Soul Live or a Medeski, Martin and Wood comparison, or I just discovered someone else through like the algorithms. Someone Lamar organ trio.
Delvin Lamar.
Yeah. That's
He's the man.
He's awesome.
That's been in rotation lately just because I just put it on. I'm just like, well, I've listened to all my Meters records. So
right.
Go check out the one that has "Move On Up," the cover of is it Isaac Hayes? No, who's song?
Or Curtis Mayfield.
Mayfield, excuse me. But that record that covers on it's fire. It's just straight funk the whole hour.
Yeah, that band is great. His band is killing for sure.
Yeah, but you would get those comparisons right off the bat because an organ sounds like an organ. Sounds like an organ.
Either that or the Doors, and we're just no thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not a Doors fan, though.
I'm not. Is it because you can't stand Jim Morrison?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. I love Ray Manzarek. I think he was a killing player. I don't like the sound of his organ because he didn't play a Hammond. He played a Wurlitzer organ.
Yeah,
I don't love that, but I do think he was a great player. I can't get into Jim Morrison.
No,
I just can't do
Everyone
it.
else in that band is fantastic. Mm-hmm. Great drummer, great guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They just you're only as strong as your weakest link, and I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever,
I'm sure lots of Doors fans would disagree, but
they're famous. We're not.
Yeah, right.
He's dead. We're not though, so we got that going for us.
1-0.
1-0. Us versus Jim Morrison.
That's the new name of this podcast.
Yeah,
us versus Jim Morrison.
I could take him. And then this is just going through your info, and then almost immediately upon making that first record, you guys that particular lineup was kaput.
Yeah, so we made that Blue record, which was just a self-titled album. We did that, and then while we did that, we were fighting, and we had a lot of creative differences, and it just wasn't working. So the minute I remember I got the box of album CDs arrived at my house, and then I called Devin and I was like, hey, let's not do this anymore. Yeah. So we literally didn't. We got the album and we're let's break up.
Yeah.
So we took like 6 months off, and I we went separate ways, and I found another guitar player and drummer, and then we kept going. So.
Yeah. Was that you, Rob, yet? Or
Not yet. There were 2 drummers before Rob.
When did you get in, Rob?
So I was doing a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, and I joined right after I put out my first record. So that would have been 2016. Yeah, it would have been February or March of 2016. I joined the band. What's funny is right at my gig, they were like, "Yeah, we're looking for a new drummer," and I went to your gig at Time where Max was playing, and then you guys fired him like a couple days later, and then I was on for the next Time gig in Philly. It was like that fast, like a month later. I was in the band, had to learn 3 hours of material, and it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. That's a Time gig for you right there.
That's right, man.
You gotta.
Do you know Time pretty well?
Yeah.
Like Time
Yeah.
Restaurant? Oh,
Yeah.
I love it there. They have great music there every night. You can go and see anything there.
Yeah, jazz, and not just like jazz, not like regular jazz. There's always different kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For a while, I mean, that was the best place to go see like Muscle Tough or something like
Sure,
that.
yeah.
And those guys are. There's nothing safe or normal about what they're doing.
Yeah, no kidding.
So you joined in 2016, Rob, and just boom, you guys were off to the races because you guys were touring a lot already. Did you have the second record done by then?
No. So when Rob joined is when we started recording the second record. Shortly after you joined, right? We started working on the second record.
Yes, and that's right when we started doing weekend runs. I was introduced to Life of Touring.
Oh, yeah.
Our first run was in Roanoke, Richmond, and Charlottesville, and it was pretty successful. We had a really good time, and we've been touring ever since.
Yeah, and you guys still play those. I know Charlottesville right now. You have like a
monthly residency,
residency, which seems absurd at the get go, but then you're just like, yeah, well,
yeah. Well, we love it there, man. The room we play is really nice. It's always packed. We do really well there. We have fans down there, and we're like, let's try to grow this market. And so let's
It's a college town, and like that place is. I mean, that part of the country too has always done well. Through like the history of like modern jam bands, like
sure.
A lot have come from that area, and the ones that haven't come from that area have always seemed to find a really good home. I mean, like that's the whole part of the country that brought us Dave.
I was about to, So Dave bartended right around the corner from the place that we're actually doing the residency. So it's pretty funny. A lot of Dave heads. In fact, we had a guy who was acting as our TM one run, and he left middle of the show and took pictures over at Miller's while he's supposed to be running our merch table. We're like, where'd he go, man?
Well, this is the Dave Mecca, bro. I gotta
watch the merch.
Gotta go to the place that Dave was once.
Right?
Yeah, he just took pictures in front of it. Anyway, I can't.
It's like going to Burlington and like running over to Nectar's.
Sure, yeah. Which we've done. We've done.
Have you guys played over there?
We've never played at Nectar's, but we play at Foam Brewers in Burlington, and we pop over to Nectar's when we're done.
How often do you think that people who play at Foam Brewers, like whatever bass player starts playing that slap line from Foam, like? You know it happens. Like there should be a rule, just like in Wayne's World, like no stairway. It's just no foam, foam bass.
The best part about this band is it can't happen because we don't have a bass player.
You could probably you could do it on the
I guess it wouldn't be the same though.
No, it'd be different. It'd be better.
My favorite though, same town is there's Burlington. What's it called? The Manhattan Pizza and Pub is right down the street, and they have a little sign that only the band can see. It says, "No wagon wheel." Absolutely no wagon wheel.
Oh, I know that club. Yeah.
Yeah, we still. That's where we first started playing there, and then they stopped doing live music. So we play at Foam when we hit Burlington.
Yeah, Burlington would be a place that would run wagon wheel into the ground.
Oh my God, College Kids Central. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Burlington's a cool. Like you get there and you get like. How the biggest jam band of our time came out of there. Like you just get there, you're just like, oh yeah. It's like
right.
In the 80s, a lot and there was a lot of like performance art theater. It's not just music, but like all these other aspects as well that all kind of just informed. So when you guys go out and tour, you guys book your own tours, you take care of your own stuff more or less.
Yeah, I do most of the booking, and we have like a routing sheet, and we take care of hotels and the venue, and we book other bands with us, and we pretty much, it's DIY the whole thing.
Do you find with that control that you're able to a little more of a modicum of success, at least in your eyes, than if you would try to have someone else do it for you?
Yeah, because we can kind of dictate where we want to play, and we can kind of ask for what we want, what we need, what we want. The only thing that sucks is there are certain rooms and festivals that are hard to get into without representation. So,
gotcha, yeah.
So we end up playing, like, I would love, like Nectar's, for instance, is a good example. So we've been offered one night at Nectar's, but it was like a Tuesday, and we couldn't get up there on a Tuesday
Couldn't make it
night.
work, yeah.
So, like, I would love to play Nectar's, but without we need to be able to draw a little better in Burlington and have someone representing us to really get a good night at Nectar's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I would like to move out of foam and start playing a room like that.
Nowadays, as any artist, if you want to get anything done, you have to wear all the hats. Or be fortunate enough to find someone already in your circle who has that skill set and will do it for free or for almost nothing, just like the way that everyone else in the band is doing it for almost nothing.
Mm-hmm. And I got to compliment Mark. He does all of it. I try to do the social media every now and again to help, but he does all of it, and it's a testament to how great of a band leader he is, because he doesn't ask for help. He just does it, no questions asked. We need to make this happen. It's going to happen.
It's the same task just over and over and over again. So once you dial in a schedule and you kind of dial in a method, as long as you actively pursue it, it can it's like doing a podcast or any other thing. Once you've got your schedule set, and I imagine because you guys have certain markets that you want to hit, on a regular basis, that sort of helps inform how you're going to move from that point.
And also too, when I first started doing this, when we first did our first run, when Rob first joined the band, you start making connections, and now it's gotten easier with certain rooms. We've got an in now. Once you get your foot through the door and they like you, it's not like we were able to book the residency in Charlottesville. We would have done that 2 years ago. Same with foam. We've done really well there, so now that's easy. So now we're trying. In fact, this April, we're doing a 10-day run, which is the longest we've ever been out, and we're going down south. We're hitting a bunch of new markets like Nashville, Charleston, somewhere else in there that I'm missing. But anyway,
whole bunch of places.
There's a lot of places that we haven't played before, so it's a new thing, and we want to we want to break into these new markets now. You know what I mean? That's where all the work goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's remarkable you're able to do it. It's because it takes a lot of work. You got to take it on the chin a whole lot of times. Before you, like you say, meet that one promoter in the town, you're just all right, now this is my guy. And I always tell younger bands, and I'm sure you've got tons of advice for younger bands too. I was saying, you might find someone on the internet, you might meet someone on the internet, but it doesn't count until you're face to face, or at least on the phone or something that. Because I know a lot of DIY guys are just oh yeah, I met these people on the internet and all that. I'm it's fine, but there's a lot of relationships you can have virtually nowadays, but I still think touring contacts and the professional end of music contacts, you got to be in a room together.
We play some rooms, and then a lot of clubs don't like to do things over the phone anymore. They like to do everything via email because then they can ignore you. It's a lot easier to ignore you.
Yeah.
But once you kind of get your foot in the door, I like with the place in Charlottesville, we met the guy that books us. He came out to see us. He took pictures of us, promoted the show, and we've created a really good relationship with him, and that is really important. Same with a place called Martin's in Roanoke, Virginia. We play there a lot. Jason, the owner who books us, he really likes the band, and we've met him, and he's been really good to us. So creating those personal relationships is extremely important.
So then when you want a gig, you're not just some guy from Philly that no one's ever heard of. It's oh yeah, those guys.
Actually, what's funny about time is that the first time we played there, we played a Wednesday. I think we played during a week thing, and the guy that booked us sat at the bar our entire first set just to make sure. And then all was good. If we call and ask for a gig, we usually get it. Or we get.
That's good. It's good that they curate, and I guess that speaks to the quality that you always get when you go to a club like Time.
Yeah.
There's someone actually in the room for your first one to just make sure. All right, can these guys actually deliver?
Right.
Probably not even so much for draw, but just being all right, can they play?
Right.
Or is the music at the standard that and that's good for clubs to have that to have a standard.
Well, that's why there's a lot of great bands that play at Time, and we had a hard time getting into Time for 2 years, and then when we finally got in there, like Rob said, that
once you're in, you're in.
It was an audition, and then we were good, So.
Now, when you guys play live, I mean, I've heard the records, and I imagine there's a lot more improvisation live. It's a lot more like a jazz set, more or less. How do you guys? When you guys rehearse and get together and you're getting ready to go out on the road, how do you guys prepare? Not so much for just playing the songs as they lay on the record. You guys can already do that, but how do you guys prepare to go out there and actually make it a show?
A lot of times we'll plan the set ahead of time. Like these are the songs that we want to play, and we're all jam band fans. So I love the segue. We love to do a lot of jam segues. Some of them are organic too. Like we do this one jam between two tunes of ours called Scoop and Slap and New Dog Old Tricks. That started out, it just happened on a gig like a year and a half ago, and we just did it, and it was awesome. So from now on, we've actually created like this thing that works,
sort of a
live.
segue that works. Yeah,
yep. But yeah, like we kind of plan it out. We like to tease covers, not do like we're instrumental primarily, so it's hard to do like to cover like The Weight or songs like that. You know what I mean? So we do a lot of like instrumental versions of covers. As like teases, in the jams,
like little parts of it instead of trying to do the whole thing. No, that makes a lot of sense, and that's fun for people to come out and see you, because like the people come out to see you, they like original live music, or else they wouldn't be there. But it's fun to kind of give them a little thing like, oh, I know that. Yeah. How long when you guys play sets? Like, what's a set length for you guys, more or less?
Depends on the room. Sometimes we do we do a lot of brewery gigs, which are like 3-hour shows, but like a lot of club shows are like 90-minute sets. Yeah. So that's like I want to shoot for more like 90-minute, 2-hour sets. You know, like do either 2-hour-long sets or one long 2-hour show. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
We definitely play. We've played some long shows, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
Like marathon shows.
Yeah, and it'll be just so we keep people up and dancing, so we don't lose the room sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, because with the club, people are staying. They bought a ticket, but like it's making sure people keep dancing, have a great time. Like when we're on the road in Virginia, even like at Martin's, we'll just play straight through, no break, and
like
we'll
2 hours plus.
Yeah, and it'll be tough, but I mean, like we'll have drinks, water, we'll be fine. It'll be okay. But like, it's all about listening. And usually Mark leads most of the jams, so if we keep going or we jam into something, we're all ears, we're all listening.
Yeah.
And we've never had a night where all of us were turned off. We were always listening.
Yeah. You do have nights that work better than others. And
sure. There's some segues that we try off the cuff, and it's like, let's not do that tonight. You know what I mean? But like, that's part of jamming is trial and error too. It's not every night it's going to be perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the key, what you said there, Rob, the key is that like all three of you, is 3 of you, right?
Yeah.
And you're all listening to each other. And I imagine that's the fewer of you there are can make that a little more easy. Sometimes just because there's it's not like a 6-piece band up there where you're all trying to keep each other straight.
Right. We're not Tedeschi trucks with one person just like no,
but it works for them.
Yeah. Sure. Although. Sorry, we have started playing with another guitar player. So we've been playing with 2 guitar players plus
cool.
Rob and I. So we've been doing a lot of like Allman Brothers harmonies and stuff, and like creating. We're actually writing a couple songs for those 2 guitar players and trying to like mix it up and like be more of like a rock, blues, funk jam band. So kind of like Allman Brothers ish with a little bit of Fish in there, and then our own kind of lane.
Well, yeah, you want to kind of hit the hits,
sure. Yeah.
Like when you go into these club gigs where a band's going to play for 2+ hours, you would hope that they can do that they would all be fairly versatile on their instruments, and that people who go out to see those shows like are, I would think, pretty open-minded musically, but we all know what everyone's expecting to hear to a point. Sure. I think that's cool that you can get them in with like sort of the standard conceptions of what an organ trio is, and then you can kind of push the edges of that boundary right there, which is I imagine what you guys do live. I've never seen it, so
you should come hang out.
I should, man.
We're getting ready to really start promoting, and we have a big show in Philly. We're getting excited for it in February.
Cool.
February 29th at Milk Boy, and like Suburban Sensi's on it. Our friend Squaring the Circle from Baltimore are going to be on it, and our friend John Kilbride from Philadelphia will be on the gig as well.
Yeah,
that's our next really big Philly show.
That's a good room up there to play too.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah. The sound is good. It's big enough that you can fill it and feel accomplished, but not like so big that you can fill it and kind of be overwhelmed.
Right.
I've always liked that upstairs room up there. You guys both went to music school.
Correct.
Obviously you get a lot out of that, especially really in-depth like higher education level music instruction, obviously it would have strengthened your playing and really helped you focus. But I'm always curious, what did you end up leaving by the wayside? Like once you were playing a 2.5 hour gig or something like that, and all the learning and charts and everything that went up to that point. At some point, I know for me, there's always a point where you just start chucking things. You're just like, I don't need that. I don't need that didn't help me.
From college.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you steep yourself in all this technique, different perspectives. You learn at the feet of, and I mean, you went to UArts, you learned at the feet of some very, very excellent players, and excellent instructors too, as well as being excellent players. But I'm always curious. As much as it's interesting what you learned, I mean, we can tell what you learned by watching you play. I want to know, what did you unlearn?
You know what I left behind? I think I left behind, I used to play in lots of big bands. I wanted to be a big band drummer more than anything. And then a couple things happened in college that kind of led me to, I didn't get the big band gig my senior year of college, which kind of led me to the avenue of well, where do I go from here? And then I realized, there's actually no money in doing that. So I've kind of left behind the big band style of playing because I haven't had to since I've graduated. That's probably the big thing.
How is it different without getting too technical? I mean,
well, you don't have to set up as much like with cues. Well, I mean, we have cues in with us, but it's not as big or drastic. Like if there's a horn hit 1, 2, 3, 4, I would have to set all of that up, do a fill into it for the trumpets to make sure they were all together and this, that, the other thing. And as the drummer, you're kind of in charge of 27 people's time.
Yeah.
And you have to you have to dictate. And
you got to really telegraph your movements to the rest of the sections.
So I guess that I didn't leave behind. I guess it's just the style of playing I don't do as much.
The moves aren't as big.
Yeah. I mean, Mark would disagree because I have to keep up with the Leslie, but I mean,
well, I was going to say, you definitely set things, when we do jams, though, when we all turn the page together, you definitely set it up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Lowdown, one of our tunes, is a good example of that. When Luke is soloing and the band turns the page and we go from here to here, Rob is the reason why that happens.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Rob setting that up, it would just sound like...
Yeah, so maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe it's just a bit... so maybe it's just a big band...
Sorry.
No. Maybe it's just a big band style, I guess. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Well, we definitely don't swing much in this band. So.
No. For an organ trio, they're like, I thought you guys were jazz.
Nope. What is jazz?
Let's get deep.
well, no. So whenever he was like, "What is jazz?" It's like someone, or when people say I don't really care for jazz, and I was just like, "Well, that's a whole genre of Western music that I guarantee you there's something in there that's going to work for you."
It's funny because we write our songs. Our songs, we both came from a jazz school. I studied jazz in college, so our songs are written like jazz tunes. It's you've got usually an intro and then a head. Yeah. And then everybody solos, and then we play the head again, and then the song, there's an outro, and the song ends, right? That's how every jazz tune in the real book is written.
Yeah.
It's not traditional jazz.
It's not bop or anything.
Rock.
Yeah.
It's like a rock groove, but written in the structure of a jazz tune.
A lot more fusing of genres and styles.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the he just went and saw the Emerald Quintet, which is Stanton Moore and Scarrick and a bunch
Robert
of
Walter,
and they do kind of what we do, which is just there's a head, everybody solos like you said, and just does the thing, and that's kind of our style. We just don't swing or play bebop or any of this.
There's no horns.
No, we have had horns sitting with us, but
I've heard on recordings too. I've heard some horns.
Yeah, we did. I think is it just Grape Soda that has horns?
I think so. Yeah.
We had a couple friends of ours sitting on that EP. There's a song called Grape Soda, and yeah,
that's the one I'm thinking of. What did you leave behind?
So I was thinking as Rob was talking specifically things that I left behind, and I'm not sure what I left behind, but I can say this. I wish in college they teach you all this great stuff. I studied jazz composition. I studied the figured bass and Bach and Beethoven and how to compose for an orchestra and all this crap, which is all great stuff, right? But they don't teach you how to book a gig, how to talk to a club owner,
they really don't.
How to advance a show, how to sit in a car for 10 hours and then play the best show of your life that night, even though you're tired as shit and all you want to do is sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't teach you those things, and I think that's what I didn't pull from college. I know I'm not really answering your question, but like,
no, that's fine. It's you realize these are things you weren't prepared for.
I learned a lot of great stuff, but they didn't really prepare me to be a professional musician.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like counterpoint's fine and good, but
right.
But you know what's funny? I had a music business class, and even they didn't teach you that. It would be a guy who like did a couple gigs in the city and just like teach like you know what I'm talking about.
Just the tone of voice right there. I know exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? The guy that does pickup gigs is like, I guess you call the owner and ask for $100, call it a day. I don't know, just like
I've been that guy though. I've been the guy that people I've stood up in front of people like who paid money to like be in a class, and I've been brought in, and they'd be like, "Well, tell people how to promote themselves." And I just sit there. I literally like just turn the chair around. I sit there. I'm like, guys, I don't know. What do you think?
That's why we left Rob in charge of social media, because he's the youngest member of the band.
There you go.
So,
you know about the clicks.
That's not true. Luke is pretty young.
Luke is the youngest member of the band.
But still, I'm 38, so you got it, bro.
Yeah.
It's all you.
I'm 10 years younger than you, almost.
Well, yeah. So I'm 39, so it's we came up at the same time and sort of ran into the same stuff of first at one point people bought records, and then one day you looked up, you're just like, why am I even pressing these damn things?
Mm-hmm. We did a vinyl pressing of the last record we put out,
like a 12-inch.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And I'll say we've been fairly successful.
Yeah, they sell better than CDs.
Oh yeah,
sure.
no, because vinyl's still an artifact. Like you can, it's for some like, and who could have called that?
Right.
No one.
Let's see what else we got. You kind of get up towards 2018. You guys do that great gig at World Cafe for Free at Noon, and then you somehow get yourself hooked up with James Hunter, the British musician. How did you end up? You guys backed him up for a little bit.
Yeah, well, so when we did Free at Noon, it was us and him on that bill, and his manager, I think it was his manager, said, "Hey, you guys," like after our set was like, "Hey, you guys are great. We have a string of shows coming up. Do you guys want to open for us and do those?" So we did. We were supposed to do 3 of them, but the one in Boston got canceled. So we ended up doing what did we do? We did Music Fest Cafe in Bethlehem, right?
Yeah, and we did City Winery in New York.
Oh, nice, nice.
And everyone in that band, they're sweet, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with them, and they were really good to us. And still to this day, I think City Winery was the greatest gig we've. We played like a 20-minute set, but that room is awesome.
Yeah, the one in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that model of venue. I love that there's one here now too.
I know. I haven't been yet.
I haven't been yet either. I meant to go see Flamin' Groovies because my buddy Dave Cope opened up for them.
That's cool.
But I in that way that when you get older, you just can't get it together to leave the house.
Best hospitality of any venue we've played to.
Yeah,
like
salmon,
grilled salmon, kale, Caesar salad, and all the wine you can drink.
Yeah, and that costs nothing to them too. Like that kind of. I mean, really, when you get down to it, like it's what a lot of these, and even Johnny Brennan took on this model as well. Was that like you got to do right. You got to do right by everyone in the room, and like literally everyone, not just the audience and not just the bands, but the sound guy and the guy working the door and the people doing the merch. It's that model now in the really good clubs, the ones that not only audiences want to keep going back to, but bands want to keep going back to. Is that like it's clear that like you matter to everyone involved in the project matters,
right?
And that's always nice because I mean we've all played enough gigs where there's not even green room. And when I say green room, I'm not like talking about like a big room with nice couches, like somewhere that we can like throw our bags and like sit for a minute, not in the club.
Yeah. We've played lots of those.
Oh yeah.
Martin's downtown in Roanoke that we play there a lot. They're so good to the artists. There's a place to hang. They feed you. You have a bar tab. The sound man is great. I love playing there. Rooms like that. It's refreshing when you hit a room like that. You know?
Yeah, it makes your job of doing the thing that you were brought on to do, which is entertain a hopefully large amount of people for a period of time. It makes it better for everyone.
Right.
It just everyone wins, and then at the end of the night, everyone makes money, and everyone goes home happy, and everyone wants to work together again. I'll circle it all back around to the podcast. because that's what we started talking about at the beginning. You kind of talked to me a little bit about why about what you do on it and like sort of the things you get out of it. But like in the end, what was the impetus to start it in the first place? To look at an overcrowded marketplace and say, "Oh, us too," because my show's been running for 5 years, and that's still like when I got in it, we were at peak capacity already when I tried to edge my way in as well.
We wanted to talk a lot about. With people from the music scene, the Philly music scene specifically, and be like, there's good music out there, because I don't know if you or I came up with the idea, I don't remember, because beer, but but like, we kept hearing like, oh, I don't know what to listen to, I'll just listen to what I like. I'm like, no, there's plenty of shit to listen to. I don't know if we can cuss on this podcast.
Oh, it's a podcast, man, come on.
But like, there's plenty of stuff to listen to. That's where the name comes from, is dude, check this out.
Yeah.
And just like pushing good music onto people if they want to find it. And in the beginning, I was making playlists of music that we talk about.
I remember that.
And then we kind of got burned. Well, I got burned out because it's just so much to list out.
It's a lot, yeah. No, absolutely. Especially you get a round table of musicians talking, and just like it just starts. The names and references start winging back and forth.
Yeah, editing a 3-hour episode with 4 musicians sitting at the table is a lot of fun.
Yeah, so
not really.
But like when we had Trap Rabbit on, that was our second episode, and we were talking about our favorite like artists at the time. And I remember making the playlist, and like this thing is like 3 days long.
Yeah,
it's like something.
Oh, those guys are so well listened, and just
I know.
Like it's
But like that was the whole thing, was we wanted to push good music onto people if they wanted to find it.
Yeah. No, it's to sort of offer a spotlight on stuff, because the unique thing, one of the many unique things about being active in the music scene, is that you are at a lot of shows and you are seeing a lot of opening acts, or you are opening for a lot of acts, or you're just on mixed bills, and you're meeting a lot of people, and you're getting exposed to their music, and you're just thinking like, my gosh, why don't more people know about my friends in Musseltoff, or something like that, and you want to have a mouthpiece, and now the internet and social media have given us all a mouthpiece.
That's right. Now everyone's just screaming.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what's happening. Yes,
listen to me, listen to me, listen to me.
Yeah, oh, gosh, yeah. Has it helped the band?
I think so. I think it's also we've met a lot of people that we wouldn't have otherwise met too. We've like bands that we like, even like the Chairman Dances that you had on. Like, they're not a band that we would probably do a bill with. They're a lot different than.
Yeah, I was curious how that came about. I mean, not that really, at the end of the day, you get musicians at a table, and everyone's going to find common ground.
Sure.
But when I saw that he was on there, I was like, oh, that's because I went through your list. I'm like, jam, roots, blues, jazz, like all that. And I'm like, oh, this makes sense. It's the kind of music they play. This is obviously the circles that they run in. And then you had him on there, and I was like, interesting.
Well, like I said, UArts being in every single band. Will, the bass player, and I went to school together.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So that's the connection.
They both had a lot to say and a lot of input to give about the industry and what the work that they've been doing in their music and their songwriting process, and it was very fascinating and a lot different than what we do. Which was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a little more composed. Yeah, he's got sections and parts and stuff written out.
Whereas we're like, all right, 2 chords. Jam, go.
Yeah, make it faster, then make it slower. Then we can modulate, and then play the next one.
That's right.
Play the next one without stopping.
Our set list just says jam.
Jam.
There's nothing else.
Set 1, jam. Set 2, jam. Encore, jam, reprise.
As you've gone through different lineups and had different people in all the time, you kind of have to relearn how to do your songs again, like to a point, by just getting people in.
Yeah. Well, like the musical dialogue always changes because everyone has different like inspirations and things. Whenever we have like a sub guitar player, the music automatically takes what kind of shapes towards whatever they listen to.
Yeah.
Because chanking on guitar is so important to our sound, and the way that they play guitar kind of makes it lean one way or another, like funk or rock or jazz.
Yeah.
So it's always fun having.
Yeah, because in your group, the guitar might not necessarily be as lead an instrument as you would think about it another place. I imagine the organ takes up a lot of that, and since you being sort of the chief composer of the material, a lot of the lead lines are going to come from you. But it isn't. Yeah, I imagine when you're bringing in guests or like people who aren't going to be a permanent part of the team long term,
sure.
It's just easier to be like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
We'll come to you. Like if someone was going to be a permanent member, there would be a little more back and forth, and everyone would kind of come up with a cohesive idea. But,
and it's funny too because even though we're very organ based, like centered around the organ, I write a lot of songs on guitar.
Oh, cool.
Which, so like, a lot of guitar players come in and they're like, dude, there's a lot of riffs and I'm playing the melody a lot and I thought this was an organ trio. What's up? Like, so, but that being said, then whatever the influences of that guitar player are, he kind of takes that melody and that song kind of does his own thing.
Yeah.
Like, our current guitar player, Luke, is a very bluesy, Derek Trucks-ish kind of player. So we get that in his playing. Whereas previous guitar players like Devin Coleman is more of a jazz funk fusion player, so you get more chanky, more harmonically complex solos and that sort of thing from him. So it just depends on
Well, it's cool that you guys are versatile enough musicians and skilled enough that you can just sit with people and be like, all right, yeah, this will work.
Yeah.
We try.
Awesome. You think we got to it all?
I think so. There's a lot. We covered a lot.
Yeah,
we said it all.
Well, guys, thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks for talking.
No, we really appreciate it. It's always fun to talk with another podcaster.
Yeah, and it's I like
a musician.
Yeah, I've been seeing your show for a while, and like I said, we've been sharing guests. I was like, yeah, it's about time.
Dude, come hang out with us anytime.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Peace
man.
out.
We'll be together till the end of time. 25
Well, that's the show for this week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Mark Brown and Rob Tate of the band Hambone Relay, for coming over, for chatting, for just being super fun dudes. I had a great time. It was a good hang. And Mark's a Binghamton boy, from not far out of my neck of the woods in western New York. So, we had an instant local rapport right there that perhaps you could detect on the microphones. Mark and Rob, Hambone Relay, check them out. HamboneRelay.com. They got some dates coming up. You can find them at HamboneRelay.com. They got a new LP out right now. It's called Say Hi to Earl. You can check that out at HamboneRelay.com and also Spotify and all the other places that you listen to music. There's probably all kinds of places that you listen to music that I've never even heard of. You can probably check them out there. And go to 25o'clockpod.com if you haven't already and just, click around. You won't break it. I promise. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, Songs to Fill the Air, a Robert Hunter celebration at Ardmore Music Hall on January 23rd. Go to ardmoremusic.com for more information about tickets and stuff like that. Tons of great Philadelphia artists playing the songs of Robert Hunter and the Grateful Dead, including myself. I'm honored to be sort of a last-minute addition to a very, very incredible bill of musicians. So ardmoremusic.com, January 23rd. Songs to Fill the Air, a Robert Hunter celebration. I'm going to leave you with a track from Hambone Relay. This is from their album, Say Hi to Earl. This is the lead-off track. It's called Dust Bowl Circus, and it's kicking. Thank you for listening. This is 25 o'clock. I'm Dan Drago. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Enjoy this tune from Hambone Relay.